Okay, next in our EKG course, still in level 1, continuing in the rate unit, we talked about paper and how a little box is 40 milliseconds. There's 5 little boxes in a big box, that's 200 milliseconds, and how the 6-second strip will help us determine rate. So let's get on to regular rhythm rate determination. There's 2 options here. You can simply count the beats or the QRS complexes in a 6-second strip and multiply by 10. You can do that. Or there's a cool little sequence trick that we'll show you, and I don't know what the official name for this is, but we all call it the sequence trick or the 300, 150, 100 thing. And so this is just memorization. This is real good flashcard stuff for you to remember. So again, the 6-second strip, 5 big boxes, 1 second. There's 3-second marks at the top of the paper. A couple of those will give you 6 seconds. If the marks aren't visible or they're not up there, you can just count 30 big boxes. Then you just multiply by 10, and boy, that's really easy. And then just kind of a sneak preview on a 12-lead EKG, that is 10 seconds long, so you just multiply by 6. But either way, we have a 6-second strip, and that is a quick way to just count the QRSs and determine the heart rate. This is something that we all learned early on in our paramedic class, and most of us learned the sequence up to a point. Pretty much the top right picture there, 300, 150, 100, 75, 60, 50. This is flashcard. You just need to put this down on flashcards and work on it. You need to just stop in the middle of your day and grab a piece of paper and write this sequence down. The act of writing it down helps your brain remember it. If you're at lunch, pull your ink pen out, grab a napkin, and just write 300, 150, 100, 75, 60, 50 until it comes out of your mouth that quick. I'm very sorry. And so 300, 150, 100, 75, 60, 50, that's the normal thing that everybody knows. That's G-rated. We like our medics to be PG-rated, so they're pretty good. They've got a little bit extra, and that's the sequence at the bottom. 300, 150, 100, 75, 60, 50, and then 43, 38, 33, and 30. Now, you can also try to remember those numbers in between, but really that's kind of silly and taking up brain space you don't need to waste. So we would like that, you to know that sequence that way. Now, so what am I talking about? Why are we... What does this sequence mean? How do you use it? Well, look at the top left diagram there, and you can see that if you can find a QRS that falls on a line between big boxes, on a dark line on the EKG paper that separates the 2 big boxes, and that first complex there falls right on that line pretty much, then if a next complex falls at the next line, the rate is 300. If it falls at the one after that, it's 150. If it falls at the line after that, it's 100. And if it falls on that next line, which is just past the second QRS complex in that top left diagram, then it would be 75. So the rate in the top left diagram is just a bit faster than 75. Just a hair faster than 75. Now, you may already be thinking through this. Let's say we've got one that falls between the 150 and the 100 lines. Well, there's 5 little boxes in there, and there's 50 points difference between 150 and 100. So there's 5 little boxes and there's 50 points difference. Each one of those little boxes is going to come up being worth 10 in that interval. Not so between 300 and 150. There's 150 in there, so each box is worth 30. Not so between 100 and 75. There's only 25 in there. Each little box line comes up being worth 5. So you can go to that level if you want, but really rate is the most important thing on EKG, and we'll say this about 300 times before this course is over. But you know, it doesn't really matter what the rhythm is. It matters what It matters what rate that rhythm is producing. It doesn't matter that the patient's in 2nd degree type 2 block if the ventricular rate is staying in the 60s or 70s. That's probably making a decent blood pressure. So rate is the very, very most important thing. When we talk about a stepwise approach to EKG analysis, we use R, PM, ABC. R is for rate. Rate's the most important thing. the first thing we want you to do when you look at an EKG is, okay, what's the rate? And so this is a key skill for you to be able to count, and this sequence helps you. But you can only use the sequence with a regular rhythm. Irregular rhythms, it won't work. It's got to be a regular rhythm, and then you look for a QRS that hits close to or on a dark line on the EKG paper. Use your sequence 300, 150, 100, 75, 60, 50, 43, 38, 33, and 30. Most medics just learn down to 50, the thought being that if it's less than 50, it's too slow anyway, so what do I care what the actual rate is? I know it's too slow. And I'm fine with that, but we would like our folks to know a couple of things that are a little bit deeper. We want you to know Glasgow Coma Scale in your head. We want you to know the sequence below 50 down to 30, and a few other little things like that. So let's just try to make you a pretty good medic.